A light switch feels inevitable, which is usually the best sign of a successful design. It does one thing. It does it quickly. It does it without explanation. And it disappears the moment it works. But inevitability is an illusion created by layers of human compromise. For most of human history, light was inseparable from fuel. Fire demanded attention. Candles shortened as they burned. Oil lamps smoked, spilled, and dimmed unevenly. Light followed the body and the clock. When you moved, you carried it. When you slept, it went away. Darkness was not a failure of lighting. It was the default state of the world. Electricity broke that relationship. Suddenly, light could exist independently of flame, location, and time. A single generator could feed an entire building. Wires could deliver energy silently through walls. But this created a problem that was not technical, but human. How do you make an invisible system feel controllable? Early electric lighting did not begin with wall switches. Some systems used pull chains attached directly to fixtures. Others relied on centralized controls managed by staff or building operators. In homes, lamps often had inline switches along the cord, forcing people to fumble near the floor or behind furniture. Power existed, but access was awkward. Control did not align with movement. The modern light switch emerged not because it was clever, but because it solved a behavioral mismatch. People turn lights on and off at moments of transition, entering a room, leaving it, standing in a doorway deciding whether to stay. The wall near the threshold became the natural location for control, because that is where intention forms. The switch lives where the decision happens, not where the light is. This placement required a leap of abstraction. You are not touching the light. You are touching a symbol of control over something you cannot see. That symbol had to be reliable enough to earn trust. This is where the form matters. The earliest successful switches were binary, not because the technology demanded it, but because humans did. A light is either needed or not needed far more often than it is finely tuned. Introducing nuance too early, brightness levels, modes, complexity, would have slowed adoption. The primary job of early electric lighting was reassurance. It had to feel simpler than fire, not more complex. The up-down toggle became a physical metaphor. Gravity gives meaning to direction. Up suggests activation. Down suggests rest. Even when wiring standards differ across regions, the metaphor holds well enough to avoid confusion. You do not need to read a label. You do not need to learn a system. Your body understands it. The resistance of the switch is also deliberate. A switch that moves too freely feels uncertain. A switch that resists too much feels broken. The small snap you feel is feedback, a confirmation that something irreversible has occurred. This tactile click replaces the visual confirmation fire once provided. You no longer watch a flame catch. You feel a mechanism complete. As homes filled with more rooms and more lights, the switch became a node in a larger behavioral pattern. One switch per room reinforced the idea that spaces could be isolated, controlled, and personalized. You were not lighting a house. You were lighting a moment. This is where the light switch quietly shaped expectations about technology. It taught people that complex systems should respond instantly to simple actions. That effort should be front-loaded into infrastructure, not operation. That once installed, technology should disappear into habit. This expectation spread. We demand the same immediacy from elevators, thermostats, apps, and screens. Pressing a button is supposed to feel final. Delays feel like failure. Ambiguity feels like bad design. The light switch trained us to expect obedience from machines. Yet the design also imposed limits. Binary control means waste. Lights stay on in empty rooms. Entire floors glow overnight. The switch does not ask if anyone is present. It does not optimize. It trusts the user even when the user is careless. This was a conscious trade-off. Adding intelligence would have required sensors, calibration, and new failure modes. The cost, financial and cognitive, was not worth the gain. Instead, the switch prioritized reliability over efficiency. This explains why the basic form persisted for more than a century with minimal change. Even as dimmers appeared, they mimicked the original metaphor: sliders, wheels, or soft stops that still preserved the idea of intentional control. The moment dimmers became confusing, they failed. When touch-sensitive panels removed physical feedback entirely, people mistrusted them. They worked, but they did not reassure. The resurgence of physical toggles in smart homes is not nostalgia. It is correction. Smart lighting systems now offer automation, scheduling, and remote control. Yet many users insist on keeping a physical switch in place, not because they lack trust in software, but because they want an emergency brake. A single gesture that overrides everything else. This is the hidden strength of the light switch. It is local. It does not require permission. It does not depend on connectivity. It works during outages, misconfigurations, and misunderstandings. It respects the human need for immediate agency. The real aha moment of the light switch is this. It is not a control for light. It is a control for certainty. You flip it and something definite happens. The world changes state. In an environment filled with gradual processes and delayed consequences, the switch offers clarity. On or off, now or later, stay or go. That clarity is why the object survives. Invisible design does not announce itself. It aligns so closely with human behavior that it stops being noticed. The light switch does not feel like an interface. It feels like part of the room, like gravity, like expectation. And when design reaches that level of alignment, it no longer looks designed at all. It looks obvious.